There is a version of you that nobody has met yet. Not your family, not your friends, not even you. And the terrifying truth is, most people will die without ever meeting that version of themselves. Right now, you are living inside a story that other people wrote for you. The expectations they placed on you, the limitations they whispered into your mind when you were too young to fight back, the identity you accepted because it was easier than building a new one. You became comfortable in a version of yourself that was never truly yours to begin with. But what if everything you believe about yourself is wrong? What if the person you are right now is simply a rough draft, unfinished, unrefined, and nowhere near the final version? There is a specific kind of person who trains when no one is watching, who studies when everyone else is sleeping, who endures when the world is screaming at them to quit. And they do all of this in complete silence. No announcements, no validation, no applause. Have you ever wondered why some people completely transform their lives while others spend decades talking about it? The answer is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even hard work in the way most people define it. It is something far more ancient, far more powerful, and far more dangerous to your comfort zone. Stay until the end of this video, because the final lesson is the one that will either break you open or leave you exactly where you are. Over 2,000 years ago, a man sat alone inside a military tent on the front lines of the Roman Empire. He was not a philosopher by profession. He was an emperor, the most powerful man in the known world. He commanded armies, ruled nations, and held the fate of millions in his hands. And yet, every single morning, before the sun rose, before the generals arrived, before the empire demanded his attention, Marcus Aurelius sat down and wrote to himself. Not for fame, not for legacy, not for anyone else to read. He wrote because he understood something that most people in positions of power completely forget. That the greatest battle you will ever fight is the one happening inside your own mind. In silence, where no one else can see you. Can you see yourself making the same mistake he refused to make? He wrote in his private journal, what we now call meditations, words like this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus was not writing motivational content. He was fighting. He was training his mind the same way a soldier trains his body, repeatedly, painfully, and without an audience. But what happened next changes everything about how we understand transformation. Marcus faced plagues, wars, betrayal, and personal tragedy throughout his reign. And each time, he did not collapse publicly. He did not seek sympathy. He processed his pain in private and showed up composed in public. That is the fundamental Stoic contract. You suffer in silence so that you can serve with strength. And this ancient principle, practiced by one of history's greatest minds, is the exact blueprint that will reshape who you are. But most people will never apply it, because the first pillar requires something that modern culture has almost completely destroyed in you. The first principle is this: silence is not the absence of progress. Silence is where all real progress is born. We live in a world that has convinced you that if it is not documented, it did not happen. If you did not post the workout, you did not train. If you did not share the milestone, it did not count. If no one witnessed your struggle, then the struggle has no value. And this addiction to external validation has quietly become the single greatest obstacle standing between you and the person you are capable of becoming. Here is what no one tells you about announcing your goals. The moment you share an unfinished version of your ambition with the world, your brain receives a small hit of dopamine. It feels like achievement. It mimics the feeling of success without requiring any of the sacrifice. And so you feel temporarily satisfied, your motivation quietly drains, and the goal slowly dies inside you while you scroll through the comments of people congratulating you for doing absolutely nothing yet. But this is only the beginning of what silence can protect you from. When you train in silence, you remove the performance. You stop doing things for the reaction and start doing them for the result. Your workouts become more focused. Your study sessions become more intentional. Your suffering becomes more purposeful, because you are no longer carrying the weight of other people's expectations or the intoxicating but poisonous fuel of their approval. Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers in history, said this: "Never tell people your plans. Show them your results." He understood that the universe responds to action, not declaration. Every moment you spend explaining your transformation is a moment stolen from actually creating it. If this resonates with you, stay until the end, because the final lesson changes everything. The consequence of ignoring this principle is visible everywhere around you. Think of the people you know who have been talking about the same dream for 5 years. The business they are going to start. The body they are going to build. The life they are going to change. They announce it loudly, receive the initial validation, and then fade quietly back into their old patterns, because the announcement already gave them what they were actually seeking: the feeling of being seen. The work never happens because the reward was already collected. The real challenge appears when you choose to disappear instead. When you stop posting. When you stop explaining. When you stop seeking permission from people who are not even building anything themselves. Because in that silence, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to discover what you are actually made of. You meet the version of yourself that exists when no one is watching. And that version is either someone you are deeply proud of, or someone you have been hiding from for years. The second principle cuts even deeper. Endurance is not about surviving difficulty. It is about becoming someone that difficulty cannot destroy. Most people misunderstand what it means to endure. They think endurance is gritting your teeth and pushing through. They think it is willpower and stubbornness and sheer emotional force. But real endurance, the kind the Stoics practiced, the kind that produces unrecognizable transformation, is something entirely different. It is the conscious decision to let pain teach you instead of defeat you. Most people stop here. They endure just enough to avoid quitting, but not enough to actually change. Seneca wrote in one of his letters, "It is not that I am brave enough to endure this. It is that I have decided this difficulty belongs to me." Read that again slowly. He was not tolerating his circumstances reluctantly. He was claiming them, owning them, treating every obstacle as property, something given to him specifically because he was capable of using it to grow. That is a psychological shift so profound that it literally rewires the identity you carry. What would happen if you practiced this every day for a year? The people who transform in ways that seem impossible to others are not superhuman. They have simply decided to have a different relationship with discomfort. When their body screams at them to rest, they negotiate with that voice instead of obeying it. When their mind tells them they are not enough, they examine that belief instead of accepting it. When the world becomes heavy, they do not ask why it is happening to them. They ask what it is preparing them for. But the strongest individuals discover something unexpected when they live inside this principle long enough. They stop fearing difficult seasons. Not because the difficulty becomes smaller, but because they become larger. The same circumstances that once felt like a prison begin to feel like a training ground. The rejection that used to humiliate them becomes data. The failure that used to define them becomes direction. And this shift does not happen through motivation or inspiration. It happens through the slow, unglamorous, silent accumulation of days where they chose to endure when every comfortable option was available to them. This is where your psychological identity begins to crack open. Because when you endure enough, when you survive enough seasons that were designed to break you, you stop identifying as someone who is trying to become strong. You simply become someone who is strong. The identity changes. And once the identity changes, The behavior that once required enormous effort begins to feel completely natural. But the third principle is where almost everyone fails, and it is the most important one of all. The third and most powerful principle is this: becoming unrecognizable requires you to grieve the person you used to be. What comes next is where almost everyone fails, because this is not about discipline or endurance or silence anymore. This is about identity death. The version of you that is comfortable, that is known, that is understood by the people around you, that version has to die. And the death of an old identity is one of the most psychologically painful experiences a human being can go through. Because we are creatures who cling to continuity, even when that continuity is slowly suffocating us. Very few people are willing to do this. Most viewers will hear this and ignore it. Here is why this happens. When you begin to change at a fundamental level, the people who love you become uncomfortable. Not because they want you to fail, but because your transformation holds up a mirror to their stagnation. Your discipline makes their excuses visible. Your silence makes their noise feel hollow. Your growth makes their comfort look like a choice they are making every single day. And so they push back. They call you obsessed. They tell you that you have changed, as if change were a character flaw. And for most people, that social pressure is enough to pull them back into the version of themselves that everyone else was comfortable with. And this is where your life begins to change forever, or doesn't. Marcus Aurelius faced this exact pressure as emperor. His own family, his own advisors, people who had known him for decades, expected him to be a particular kind of man. And the secret that lives quietly inside the pages of Meditations is that he was constantly, privately fighting the pull of who others expected him to be versus who he knew he was meant to become. He wrote to himself not because he had it figured out, but because he was in an active daily war against his own comfort and the world's expectations of him. The person you are becoming is going to feel lonely for a while. The silence will feel isolating. The discipline will feel excessive to everyone watching. The study, the training, the endurance in the dark hours when no one sees it, it will all feel like too much until suddenly, it becomes the only way you know how to live. Most people will never reach this. They will stay recognizable. They will stay comfortable. They will stay exactly who they are right now, slightly disappointed, quietly wondering what they were truly capable of. But you are still here. And that means something. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine 1 year from today. Imagine you chose silence over announcement, endurance over escape, and transformation over comfort every single day between now and then. Imagine walking into a room and carrying yourself differently. Not arrogantly, but with a quiet certainty that comes from knowing exactly what you survived to be standing there. Imagine the people who doubted you looking at you and not fully recognizing the person they see. Imagine the confidence that comes not from other people's applause, but from the private knowledge of what you endured in the dark when no one was watching. Can you imagine becoming this person? What would your life look like 1 year from now if you simply refused to give up on the version of yourself that you have been quietly dreaming about? That person is not a fantasy. That person is a decision. And that decision is available to you right now, in this moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live." He wrote that because he understood what most of us refuse to accept. That time is the only resource you cannot earn back, cannot borrow, and cannot negotiate with. Every day you spend waiting for the right moment is a day that belongs to the grave. Every year you spend performing instead of transforming is a year closer to the end, where no amount of regret will give you back the silence you wasted on noise, or the endurance you spent on comfort instead of greatness. The clock does not wait for your readiness. So here is the only question that matters right now. Who will you choose to become in the silence that no one else sees? If this video reached something deep inside you, if it shook something loose that needed to be shaken, then do one thing right now. Write the words, "I begin," in the comments below. Not for me, for you. As a declaration to yourself that today is the day the old version ends and the real work starts. And if you are serious, genuinely serious, about becoming the person you were always meant to be, subscribe to this channel. Because transformation starts today, not tomorrow. The silence is waiting. Step into it.